This is an awesome episode for many reasons, but one, it's 50. We have the owners of MECHA, Rich and Tony. Guys, thank you for coming on. I know you guys don't do this often.
Right, not yet. First time.
I just want to kind of get into it, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And after work, I'll be up to 3 in the morning looking up recipes and going on YouTube and and trying and practicing in our at Pham, right? Pham Vietnam in Danbury. So that's where the love of cooking kind of started for me.
Yeah.
And experimenting, and it went from there to okay, I'll just drop out of college because I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to open up a restaurant and see how it is. That's about the time Rich had come back from college.
Jumped headfirst into a restaurant, starting a restaurant, having never worked in a restaurant before in my life. Like Tony said, he was kind of watching from afar and asking himself, what can I do in terms of taking that next step? You know, my family's business, and I think that's where he started thinking about Mecha Noodle Bar.
Yes, we are back. It's The Dream is Free, and this is awesome. This is an awesome episode for many reasons, but one, it's 50, and we've been saying we're gonna have a party for our 50th episode, but 2, we have the owners of MECHA, not Mecha. You don't want to mess with these guys. They'll come and stomp you if you say that. MECHA, Rich and Tony, guys, thank you for coming on. I know you guys don't do this often, if ever, right?
Right, not yet. First time.
So thanks for coming on, dudes. I just want to kind of get into it, you know what I mean? First of all, how's your new year going so far? Because it's still, new year, 2022.
My new year is blessed.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much knew it the moment I walked into this building, but really focusing on a few different words. And I pull up to this, place in Bridgeport. I have no idea where I am. This building, I have no idea what the building's about. But the building's painted, it's painted in hope and gratitude. And those are all things I'm looking for this year. So I'm winning.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, it's been a busy year so far. We've got a lot going on this year.
Yeah.
We're opening up 3 restaurants. Eat Justice is taking off, and
we'll get into
here.
that. Yeah,
we're here. Too,
yeah,
so a lot of stuff
sick.
going on.
I appreciate you guys taking your time here because I know it's valuable, especially you guys. Like you just said, you're opening more locations. I mean, you guys have 5 right now, right? Currently, without those ones open.
Yep, we got 5,
right.
2 under construction, so it'll be 7 soon.
All right, so yeah, that's a lot going on. But I want to go back before all that, and you guys could simultaneously, tell your kind of like upbringing stories. I kind of like to get into that a little bit, and then you guys could just go from where you guys met and all that jazz and into MECHA and that, whole thing and what's to come.
Yeah.
For you guys.
You ever have a fried quail before?
Oh, no, I haven't.
It's a place to start.
Okay.
Right. So me and Tony have been friends since elementary school, and working memory is a funny thing.
Like kindergarten, we're talking?
Something around
that time.
Around first grade, second grade.
Yep.
My memory wasn't that great back then, but what I do remember is being invited to a birthday party for the Asian kid at school.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up in Bethel, Connecticut, not that diverse, so there weren't many of us. Me being from Dominican Republic and Tony being from Vietnam, and he invited me to his birthday party, and they had a tray full of these little fried birds that looked like whole little chickens.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just my mind said, I want that.
Yeah.
When I go in on that. So I crushed a couple birds, bones, swallowed it all.
Wow.
And I think Tony was watching and was like, yo, this is the only kid at the birthday party who knows what's up.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it started.
Wow.
It's my version is that, so we're really exclusive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's my family and that's it. And that's why I was used to growing up.
Yeah.
And then, we're WWF and stuff like that was big back then. And I see this Dominican kid, in the middle of my cousins and we're all, Vietnamese, chomping on this quail. I'm like, all right, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Street
I think
cred.
I've seen him before. But that's the first time I remember him. And it wasn't until like years later, probably in high school or middle school, I'm like, yo, I remember you. You remember that birthday party? And he remembered.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you guys link back up and start being friends in high school, basically?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say the relationship definitely, got a little bit deeper as we went through the middle school and high school years. And in high school, kind of really became friends, based on both of our backgrounds. At the end of the day, Tony has a huge family in Bethel, Connecticut, and I have a huge family as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the thing that we bonded over, kind of the immigrant story and having that place that we call home within a place that didn't feel so much like home, being in Bethel. So that's kind of where things got really more connected. And luckily for us, I ended up going to school in the city at NYU, and he would come and visit all the time, and that's how we got into the food and beverage game.
Nice. What'd you go for?
Would I go for it? Or would I end up with? Because I could talk for a
honestly,
while about what I went
You kept
for.
switching, yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of went in there first and foremost thinking pre-law. I was going to become an attorney, and then I interned at a law firm my freshman year, and I was like, this is not happening. Not for me.
Yeah.
So from there, I switched over to business, thinking I'd do something in finance or accounting, and also did some work for Merrill Lynch, and it was good work. It kept me engaged, but the outcome was what I wanted for me. And I said, I want to switch gears again, and said, I'll pick up sociology. Why not?
Yeah, it's a great subject.
Yeah, what is this thing about?
Yeah.
Ended up being about, people and relations and community and how those dynamics work through different time and space. And that was it. That's what I graduated with. And,
Nice.
I think that was a perfect segue to restaurants in some weird shape or form.
It is because, like you said, it's the study of, societies and stuff. And I was a psych undergrad, so I totally get it.
I did psych too, my bad.
Yeah, it's a great, I feel like everyone should just have a psych course, like throughout high school even. I'm talking earlier, like, because it's necessary to know how people think, how people work, how people move. It's not everybody's not the same.
Yeah.
But so you guys, so he comes, first of all, NYU. How great, like that's just, it's in a beautiful area.
It is.
It really is. It's so awesome up there.
Yeah, it's a good time too.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I can only imagine. So then from there, what were you guys doing? You guys were just having fun, partying?
Yeah,
NYU.
Parallel to his story,
Yeah.
I was in WestCon for nursing.
Yeah.
You're 18. It's like trying to predict the future.
Yeah.
What's stable. So, you go to nursing, right?
Yeah.
And so while attending nursing school, my mom decides to quit her job of 20 years at the time. And she's an immigrant, right?
Yeah.
She's making pretty decent money.
Yeah.
And risk it, right? She's
Right.
like, I'm going to risk it and open up a restaurant. She has no business opening up a restaurant. She knows how to cook, and that was it.
Yeah.
So being the oldest son, you have to naturally, you're obligated to take over, translate, do the paperwork, meet with attorneys, do all this stuff while I was in college, just getting into school. But one thing I wanted to add with Rich was that throughout college, that's when our relationship deepened. While college kids would be out partying or at fraternities or whatever, we would be at his apartment, NYU apartment or dorm, cooking for our friends. That's what we would do because that's how we discovered that bond. It's like forget going out. We would go out sometimes, but it was way much better to invite his cousins over, my cousins over, have 10 to 15 college kids and then cook for them.
Yeah.
I mean, we were making, and at that time we were like, okay, this is fire. And we would take like string cheese, batter it and make like fried mozzarella sticks.
Yeah. That's funny.
So it's that's how we bonded really with the restaurants and food at that point.
And kind of like that was almost like a prequel to the service industry, like you have people it's like almost like a restaurant. You guys had like a simulated like version of it.
Yeah, we would go pretty hard. I mean, it would be a couple hours of prepping and then we would, drink but we were like old. We weren't we acted like, older people.
Right.
At that time.
Yeah.
It wasn't about shots or anything like that.
Right. It's like classy fun.
Yeah, it was classy fun, but it was around what we grew up with. And we didn't know it at the time, right? It's like surrounding yourself with family, that social gathering with people who you love and want to hang out with, and cooking a dope-ass meal for them.
Yeah.
And that's 100%. Why I think New York really did it for us. It showed us the power of food and beverage in a shared space. So, as I went to college and we'd go to different restaurants, it's like, why not do this in the comfort of your own home, right? Let's invite some people over, let's cook. And just getting to see, what that felt like was kind of like that aha.
Right. So take me through the next steps, like just you guys take it away.
Yeah, I mean, that's when I think the start of my love for food really happened, right? While in college, while working at, the hospital as a CNA, I would go home and I know you guys go to bed early, but I stay up late.
Yeah.
And after work, I'd be up to 3 a.m. looking up recipes and going on YouTube and and trying and practicing in our at Pho, right? Pho Vietnam in Danbury. So that's where the love of cooking kind of started for me and experimenting. And if you were around me around that time, in my early 20s, that's probably all I talked about. Definitely sorry about that, but I was so passionate about it at that time. And, it went from there to okay, now let's drop out of college because I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to do this. I want to cook, right? I want to open up a restaurant and see how it is. So that's about the time Rich had come back from college, and he opened up his own place, his own at the time, and I'll let him tell that story.
Yeah, to kind of pick up those pieces I had talked a little bit about, looking at the attorney world, looking at the finance world, and neither one of those working. And I pivoted into the nonprofit space. And the nonprofit space was an amazing space to be in. I got to feel like I was making a true impact, but I didn't feel like I was in control of my destiny. I felt like I could only do what was given to me. And my dad, I grew up in the household of an entrepreneur, right? My dad came to this country in 1990, and by 1991, he owned a deli. So I kind of called him up and said, hey, look, you have a Latin deli. What if we turn into a restaurant and use our culture and use our food to help connect our community in Danbury, Connecticut, which can be kind of divided between immigrants and not immigrants. And he said, you never steer yourself wrong, go for it. And I moved home and I jumped headfirst into a restaurant, starting a restaurant, having never worked in a restaurant before in my life. Never bartended, never served, never cooked. But I grew up behind a deli counter, and I always say that was my world's greatest teacher. So I opened up that restaurant, and like Tony said, he was kind of watching from afar and asking himself, what can I do in terms of taking that next step beyond my family's business? And I think that's where he started thinking about Mecha Noodle Bar.
Yeah, and when it was 2006 when we opened up Pham, and throughout that time, it was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Around 2010 was when I'm like, this is, ramen is getting big in New York City. It's not really here yet in the country. It just started coming over, right? Momofuku got big, David Chang got big, and I was really inspired by that, right? And I'm like, okay, Connecticut, it has potential here, right? There's an opportunity. We're close enough to New York City and Boston, so people know about the food. And I was wrong about that, looking back on it. And I kind of went for it, right? When he was looking at his second location after Maison, I tagged along, driving around with the real estate agent, looking as well. And it happened we opened up back to back in the same plaza in Fairfield, Connecticut as our first, our next restaurant, I guess.
Like back to back.
Like shared alleyway.
Oh, wow.
I open up my back door, he opens his back door, and high five.
Yeah. Good luck today, bud.
Yeah, right?
See you at the end of the night.
Yeah. so that, started its own journey for both of us. Tony really starting a brand from scratch with a product that no one understood in Connecticut, being ramen. And for me, trying to figure out what it meant to run multiple restaurants at once when I didn't really know how to run one restaurant at the time. And to make that story got a little bit shorter, eventually we ended up closing that restaurant in Fairfield, Connecticut. My family did, and it was a great teacher for me and a great blessing because it allowed Tony to kind of really look at what I could bring to the table and say, I think there's a huge opportunity here for ramen in Connecticut. We've been best friends forever. Like, we both share the same core values. Like, let's grow this.
Yeah.
And I was all in on that, and that's kind of how the partnership started and helped us kind of roll out from Fairfield.
Yeah, so Fairfield was the first spot, right? Yep. So that in the Brick Walk or whatever, Brick Walk, right? So, dude, that's a great location.
It wasn't great at the time. I mean,
I know, but it is
now.
But the thing is, if I'm born and raised in Fairfield, you know what I mean. So it's like, I know the traffic,
right?
You know what I mean. And it's like, if you couldn't see that if you didn't build that up, you just knew you put something there. There's gonna be people there. Yeah. There just is, especially if you make it nice. And how it is, it's very beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, Fairfield in general was something that I pinned a long time ago because you got the universities.
Yep. Three technically if you got UB.
Yep.
I like to include them.
You're kind of next to the beach, so you got this kind of tourist pop in the summertime. It's very affluent, right? Looking back, if I were to say what I know now, would I pick that location? Probably not, because it was like, it's not on the street. It was hidden.
Yeah.
It's literally behind the plaza.
Right.
And I was like, what was I thinking about?
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully I was wrong and it all worked out.
It does well, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like you said, you guys came in when it was time to come in, basically, when it wasn't hot here yet.
It wasn't hot yet.
You know?
And there were stores going out left and right. But, you know, it's our strongest restaurant right now, which is great. Not only us, but other tenants have come in, and it's kind of created this little community.
Yeah.
So it's been good there.
Let's back up, though, real quick. The name.
Yeah.
How'd you think of that?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, because we just jumped to you getting the building, you know what I mean?
So I was literally like, okay, I recall where I was. I was at Pho, the restaurant, and I was thinking about names and putting things together that sounded kind of good or didn't. And I'm like, okay, Mom and Pop, right? That's all I knew. Mom and Pop is this restaurant right now that I have. It's run down. It's a hole in the wall. So I started to put the word mom and pop together, and then in the Vietnamese language, different words for mom and dad. There's many, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, this kind of looks like it sounds good together.
Yeah.
And so I made like a top 3 or top 5, and I sent it out to like Rich and, you know, people, our peers, and I'm like, how do you pronounce this?
Yeah.
To get feedback.
Yeah.
And I forgot what the results were at the time, but you know, I think it was like half Mecha.
Yep.
And half Mecha.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, okay, I think we could roll with this.
Yeah.
You know, the correct pronunciation is Mecha.
Mecha.
Yeah, which means mom and dad, right?
Yep.
So you know, I
Mecha.
kind of create that story behind Mecha.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's dope. I love it.
It is. It's funny because I think we get more wrong pronunciations than right.
But I feel like it's like its own conversation sparker.
Yeah, this year we rolled out with like interviews. We just randomly interviewed people
And
on
we
the
saw
streets.
that. We saw that. Yeah, we saw that. That's funny. I
was
mean,
cool.
there's a lot of people who literally, you would think that would know, but I guess not.
No.
That's what Tony did to us 9 years ago.
Yeah.
He's like, how do you pronounce this?
Yeah. I mean, it works, man.
It works. It was fun. I mean, it's funny because I'll ask people. If people are asking me, you know, what do you own? And I'll say Mecha, and they're like, what? What is that? I say Mecha, and they're like, oh, okay, I know that.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's all good.
Yeah.
So that's how the name kind of came together, and
Yeah.
the whole story behind it. Because at Pho, my mom and my dad still works there. God bless their heart.
Wow.
And it was like that really intense working with your parents.
Yeah.
You know, and with the Vietnamese dialect, it sounds like you're naturally yelling at each other anyways.
Yeah.
And then when we really yelled at each other, you could definitely hear it. It was like a 900 square foot restaurant.
Like, I'm Bulgarian, so I totally get it. It's the same, different language, same style.
And it's intense. And part of that, I mean, you know, I love them. Part of the wanting to move on was working with them and cooking with them in the line, because that kitchen is tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go to, I don't know if you guys have ever been there, but Pho Saigon in North Ave.
Yep.
They're really good. Like, I discovered them actually at UB.
Yep.
Hole in the wall, and it's like a thing at UB. Like you go there and you find out about this place. Basically, it's like one, you know, it's part of it, but they're great over there. Good people. That's just like you said, a mom and pop shop.
Yeah, they're OGs. And, and that's what it was, because I looked at Vietnamese restaurants and pho shops across the country, and they're all like that. They were all like that, right?
Yeah.
Great food.
Yeah.
Right. Great food. They could cook, but then, you know, the bathrooms are like kind of suspect.
Yeah.
It's not great.
You know what
ambiance.
you're going into.
The hood's not on, you know, smells a little funny.
Yeah. The ambiance, exactly. That's the best way to put it. It's like the ambiance is not what you're looking for,
right?
Essentially.
And you guys, you know, you might get yelled at by the woman.
Grandma.
Yeah, grandma or woman cooking in the back.
Love her.
By my mom.
Yeah.
You know, counting napkins and things like that. How
But
much
it's a family thing, though. Eventually, when you're regular, they know you. It's different. It's different than, I don't know.
And a part of why I tell you this is because it was, you know, a part of what I thought Mecha should be, right? It's keeping that core food, right? That kind of authenticity, but like that hug when you eat that bowl. And it's so special, right? If you go to my aunt's house or my mom's house, you know, or my grandma, they cook for you, and it's like that hug, right? It's a home cooked meal, and it was important for me to keep that, but have clean bathrooms. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you know what's funny?
Simple business model.
Speaking of your bathrooms, I fucking loved your bathroom in New Haven.
Yeah.
And there's a Boy Meets World poster in it, in one of them. And I told them, I was like, because I was doing the drone work outside.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, go check out the bathrooms, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, did you get the Boy Meets World thing?
Yeah.
They're like, no, you want us to film in the bathroom? I was like, no one's gonna know it's in the bathroom except you guys.
It's funny. I mean, the story. I literally just went into. I ordered all these artwork online.
Yeah.
Things that I grew up with and loved. Right.
Yeah.
Boy Meets World.
Yep.
Aaliyah, and I ordered probably like 20 pictures and framed it, and then went into each bathroom, 5 locations, and just posted it up.
I love it.
Martin Luther King Jr.
See, I
you got
told
Biggie.
Told you there's a story.
Yeah, so there's a little story.
Yeah, he's not telling you all the life lessons he was texting me because he went on a deep dive on Boy Meets World.
Oh,
yo,
really?
You seen episode 6?
Oh my
I'm like,
god.
no.
Yeah. So you know how you watch things when you're younger and you watch things now when you're older, and you have you're older and you're wiser, and it's just a totally different
Experience.
perspective and
Yeah.
experience. And then I was watching the first season of Boy Meets World because I went on a deep dive, like Rich said.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this is some deep stuff that they're
Yeah.
talking about, right?
Yep.
I remember in one of the first episodes, they were talking about Asian hate at the time. It was a girlfriend of like Sean or something.
Yeah.
And she got picked on, and she was, came in and was crying. I'm like, this is going on right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I
know.
And I was like, I have to get, these posters up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing like those classic shows. They were just so epic,
Yeah.
all of them. They really, and like you said, you look back, you don't even realize what they're teaching you subconsciously,
Right.
like
Yep.
whether it's good or bad, but like Boy Meets World was amazing. By far, one of the best shows.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mecha,
Mecha. That's the name. That's how
So
the name came
the
out.
name. So tell me, with the one place, what's that first year like?
Wow, the first year was a grind. So we kind of talked about it early on. No one knew what ramen was, right? So we didn't even serve pho on the menu. It was like, I want this to be a ramen shop. I want this to be different than pho Vietnam.
Yeah.
And we were literally teaching people how to eat, right? So it's like, the bowl would be set down in front of the guests, and they're like, how do I eat this?
Yeah.
And we'd have to tell them, spoon on one hand, chopsticks on the other, or
Yep.
fork.
Yeah.
And our slogan was slurping encouraged because, in America, that's rude.
Yeah, I
Right?
know. Yeah.
In Asia, it's
A sign of like respect.
Exactly.
And, like, wow, this is good.
this is good,
Yeah.
and it's part of that kind of savage eating. Let's break open
Break
crabs.
bread.
And,
Yeah.
So that was part of the first year. It was a grind. People didn't know who we were. People didn't know our location because it was hidden. So the first 6 months it was me working crazy amount of hours, trying to learn, trying to pivot, trying to be everything. Again, I didn't know how to run a restaurant. Right? I could cook, but I didn't know how to run the ops, the marketing, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was a tough first year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
He was in the alley.
Yeah, I was
I
in
know.
the
That's what
alley.
I'm saying. So in comes you.
Yeah.
How did that transition,
Yeah.
go?
So yeah, I mean, when Rich closed his restaurant behind there, and at the time, I saw an opportunity, right? Like I say this to him all the time. I saw Tom Brady,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that people didn't know about.
I never played football either.
Yeah. That's funny.
So I'm like, so there was an opportunity there, and a part of it was out of love as well. And I'm like, this guy is the smartest, person in the room a lot of times, and I have a recipe for success, right? I just don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
I know steps 10. I don't know steps 2 to 9.
Right.
And I pitched it to him at that time. I think it was 2014 when I did, and the rest is history. But there was 2 kind of prerequisites, right? And it was all out of love. One was to grow it, and the second one was to grow our charity arm at the time. I had this idea before we opened up Mecha, even was a way to give back, right? And I was just like in my head, all right, why not just raise your menu items 50 cents, total that sum up at the end of the month and donate it.
Yeah.
Simple.
Like the difference
concept.
of exactly. Yep.
So simple, right?
Yeah.
And what I hated the most was people asking
I know.
for donations because it's a point of contention, right?
Yeah.
Especially around the
People on
holidays.
spot. It puts people on the
Yeah,
spot.
puts
It's
you on
like
the
you don't
spot.
want to do that.
It's uncomfortable.
Yes.
So I was like, all right, let's build it in, right?
Yeah.
Let's say this 50 cents is gonna go somewhere. and for a charity of the month, I called it Noodles for a Cause. And so but it wasn't really hashed out back then. So one of, a prerequisites with Rich was like, let's build this both, right?
Yeah.
Build the restaurant.
And you love the
build
charity work
Yeah.
from your experience.
Yeah, I'd always done the charity work in the
Yeah.
nonprofit. I always volunteered. But I think, Tony's always said it best in terms of how it went. He always says, he's intuition on the intellect. So his intuition was we should be able to leverage businesses for good.
Yeah.
Right? I think in America, we always look at capitalism and say it's a devil, it's evil.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be.
Right.
It could be something totally different. And I share that intuition, that gut feeling with him. And we start thinking about, okay, well, how do we actually make it real? Right. And, we start thinking about the idea of adding 50 cents to every item, the idea of having monthly charities, the idea of doing mission-based work. And like all that has to happen under some kind of an umbrella, right? All that has to happen under a name or a space where people can look at it and feel inspired. Like,
Right.
wow, I want to go do that.
Yep.
So that's where the intellectual part comes in. And we eventually, settled on the name of Eat Justice. And that's where Eat Justice was born as a platform, as a movement, as an initiative, really taking that core feeling of let's leverage business for good. Now, how can we do it in a way where the rest of the world can look at it and feel inspired?
I love it. No, I think it's so sick because, like we just said, it's invasive to to people sometimes. We don't know people's situations.
Yeah.
And they could want to donate, but they just don't have it, type of thing. And now it's like, you just maybe give me. This is actually the last $5 I have.
Right.
Right.
But the 50 cents is beautiful too because it's not
not a
killing
lot.
anybody.
Yeah, it's-
Like what's 50? That's like you're getting taxed. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But it's like this is it's going somewhere awesome. And I like that you do switch it up each month, right? That
Yeah.
you do it.
Yep.
Which I think is cool too. A little variety, and I'm sure you have like a list of your core charities that you kind of run through. I bet. But
Yeah, it's actually not even about that. It's really about taking the platform to build better humans.
Right.
That's what we like to say.
Yeah.
And we think about better humans as inside of our own restaurant. So we look at our leadership and we go to them and say, what's important to you? What resonates with your heart? And let's support that.
Right.
We don't have a core list of
cool.
charities that we work with. We really look at our in-store leaders to say, this is important to me or this is important to this community. And then we go at that.
Cool. I love it. Well, we know Dan from Live Free.
Yeah.
He's great. They're so awesome over there, those dudes. What they do for kids, honestly. So I was sick to know you guys help them out.
Yep.
Yeah. So like, I guess my another question I have is like, what's been one of the challenges of having multiple locations and stuff like that, and just managing it all, and you got a lot of employees now. You're growing even more. What's been the hardest part of all that?
What you think, T?
There's a lot of hard things with that, right? The obvious, like just there's more locations, more employees, more problems, more fires, right? But I kind of want to tell you what's been fulfilling,
Right.
In opening up multiple locations, and it happened naturally because I went from being passionate about food and cooking and a chef to now I'm passionate and about people, right, and developing people. So that piece was natural. It had to come because when you have that many employees, you have to be the leader. They look to you.
Yeah.
And then on a day-to-day basis, it wasn't about cooking the best soup anymore or broths. It was about how can I develop this person and make them better. And it was it's part of why Eat Justice was born. We have a saying with Eat Justice, right? Profits matter, people matter more. And that was really a part of our core. So it went from there. Running multiple locations to now being okay with running multiple locations because you're changing them. You're changing their financial outcome.
Right.
It's either they're the breadwinner for their family, and a lot of our employees are not even first generation Americans, right? And that really hits our core because that's where we come from, right? We're the first generations, but you have a lot of our employees that are struggling, and we're a part of helping them out.
Yeah, no, it's dope. It's tough these days, especially we just went through we're still in it, but not like how it was with COVID. I was going to ask how that was for you guys during that stretch, maybe even in the beginning. What was it like going through that? And then once it started opening up, did you guys open up right away, or did you guys take time like some businesses?
No, I think that was the ultimate exercise in what Tony's talking about right now, which is choosing beauty, right? You know, running multiple restaurants can be difficult, can be challenging, but you just have to remind yourself to choose to see the beauty. And when you have an opportunity or a crisis that we had with COVID, you know, the question becomes, well, how is this an opportunity to help people? Because that's ultimately all we could do at that moment. So our first kind of mindset was, what can we do to take care of our teams? And let's think about healthcare. Let's think about food. Let's think about shelter, having a roof over your head. And as we thought about those things, we thought about ways to support them through workshops for unemployment. We thought about food drives. We thought about free food, come pick it up, take it home, no matter how many people it is. And then we thought about Eat Justice having been made for this moment, right? Eat Justice is a powerful tool to help people when a need is there and a need arises. And we said, you know what? Let's not raise 50 cents on one item. Let's raise 50 cents on all items. And across our restaurants, we raised every single item 50 cents to create an employee relief fund. And that raised over $200,000 for our teams.
Wow.
And it was a relief fund, just no questions asked. If you needed $60, you write us an email, we got you $60. If you needed $3,000, we got you $3,000. So for us, the whole COVID opportunity was about showing what for-profit can do.
Right.
Even when you cut off our arm, our leg, you say people can't come inside, they can't buy booze, they can't do this. We can still help. So I think it was the ultimate testimony to the power of capitalism and using it for good.
Right. Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, I don't celebrate the wins a lot, but I was really proud of how we, you know, enriched for sure. Got through it. It was, you know, a scary time, right? Uncertainty. You know, people are getting sick. We have to close our restaurants. And you employ all these people, and you're like, that's heartbreaking. Right. To that, and I'll never forget that moment. Where we had to kind of lay off people because we had to close our doors. We kept, you know, our operations running through takeout, but you can't have all the employees there, right?
No.
But as you know, what Rich said, we reacted with our employees in mind. And I know a lot of companies that did that, and I know a lot of companies that didn't do that, but I was really proud of how we reacted.
Yeah. No, it's dope. I mean, a lot, like you said, a lot of companies don't do that, and I mean, I haven't heard of any companies doing that, to be honest. So it's nice of you guys, because usually companies just say, "Well, see you later. Have a good, you know, unemployment stint.
Right.
Come back here again after," type of a thing, you know.
We really live inside out. That's what, you know, our leadership coach says, right? Because the day that they declared that it was, you know, a national emergency and things were really going to happen, we were in a train coming back home from Boston, and we wrote down our core values, right? We wrote down, you know, things like leaders eat last, you know, and we really took that to stride, and we made it happen, right? It was the plan, it was the action, and then the outcome was great, right? Meaning, you know, we really took care of everyone.
Yeah.
See you later wasn't a choice on that train ride. We're really thinking about what are the values that are going to guide us through this time period. See you later wasn't on there, so it was never even an option as we were kind of thinking about how to navigate the COVID space.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can only imagine. I worked in the restaurant industry all through undergrad and into grad school, and it's tough. It's a tough industry to deal with on a day-to-day normally, than to, like you said, cut your arm and leg off. I couldn't even imagine, you know what I mean? So kudos to you guys, of, you know, staying afloat and thriving, to be honest, and taking care of yours, basically.
Yeah.
You know, besides Boston, like, I mean, I know you guys are putting three new locations in there. Do you guys think about even beyond that? Or you guys just focused on now Boston, we'll take care of Boston, and then we're going to go? Or do you guys already have ideas post Boston?
Yeah, we have ideas. I think that ultimately it comes down to, you know, the core values and that guiding light, which is the more opportunities we can create within our industry, which is dominated by immigrants. It's the more opportunity that we create for the sacrificial generation, right? The people like our parents who, you know, left their countries and decided to risk it all to allow their children to choose, right? So for us, we want to creating opportunities will allow people to choose whether they want to go pre-law or not.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You have that luxury here in America, and the more restaurants that we open, I think the more children immigrant and not that have that opportunity. So for us, that is what drives our growth, and wherever we can do that effectively and still honor the brand and that hug and a bowl, we're going to do that. And Boston's next, and I'm sure there'll be other places to come after that.
When is the first location opening in Boston?
We're hoping May, June.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they're saying they're going to give it to us. The construction will be completed end of April.
Right.
We need about a month to get off the ground. And
get like employees and stuff in there, get a manager and all that.
Yeah.
Cool.
And to add on top of our outlook, we definitely do have other markets in mind after Boston. We've kind of went back on a trip from DC, Philly, and wherever in North Carolina, just looking, right. But what we have in mind is what it takes to be successful in these markets, but also what communities need help, right? Because I look at Connecticut, where we have 5 stores, we're able to raise $15,000 to $20,000 every month. Imagine if we did that in multiple states, right? So that's what's in our heads right now. And then imagine if we go out of the country, right, and just say now Mexico, we open up 5 stores in Mexico, and what that could do for the communities there.
Right.
And I'm thinking really far ahead, and it's just an idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But that's kind of the driving force to let you know a little bit more about us.
Right. So
where we want to go.
Essentially, it's like as long as we could help people, we're gonna grow. We're gonna go wherever we can to help people, if it stays true to the brand and to being able to not lose the restaurant or whatever.
For sure.
Like it's a smart business move too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, if people don't know about you guys, because it's tough. I worked in the restaurant industry, so you don't really, even as an employee, you're not really talking it up with the owners of the place. You know what I mean? You're not really getting face to face with them, rarely ever, except for once in a blue moon. Definitely at the Christmas parties. You know what I mean? The holiday. Well, thank you, sir, so much. Thank you for the free liquor tonight. And other than that, it's like you don't really know who they are. You know what I mean? So, but I know your employees know who you are, obviously, because I could just tell. But and everything that you said today. But it's dope that now people are gonna know who you guys are too. You know what I mean? Just from this video. Yeah. Because it's good. Like it's good to get this out. I don't know if you guys do newspapers even and stuff of people knowing that you do the charity work. I feel like it's just word of mouth. It feels like.
Yeah, we don't do enough, but we're working on that.
Right.
That's kind of
step one.
Yeah, this is step one.
Yeah.
It's the next phase for Eat Justice, really celebrating the work that's being done. Like I said, to really get other people to see that it can be done.
Yeah, and
to do the same.
Is there other ways people can get involved with Eat Justice? Not just like buying, food from you guys. Can they directly contact you guys and be like, hey,
so
XYZ?
One of the big things that we're figuring out, right, and that's kind of sticks with me is that we don't take donations, right? It's like I don't want to ask for money. I don't want to take donations because the business model of raising the funds is so solid. If you want to donate directly to the cause, right? And why I feel so strongly about that is because the bad side about the whole nonprofit world, and it's not even bad really. It's people, the media blowing it up. Is that there's a lot of wasteful money, right? But so to kind of counteract that, it's like we don't want your money, and we don't want other restaurants' money or other businesses' money. Just donate it directly, right?
Yeah.
Whatever is near and dear to your heart, but just pay it forward. Right, and that's really a part of our core.
So they value. Can go on the website and be like and download like
so we have
$25, whatever they want.
So we have QR codes with the newsletters and on our website, and our social media for the month, and they can just literally put the QR code in. It will take them to the charity's website directly, and they can make a donation there.
Cool. Yeah. Nice. That's sick.
But I think the real way to get involved is to use your platform. And I think that's what Eat Justice is trying to do. I think we all have a platform, whether you're a business owner, you have a podcast, or, you're just a 9-to-5er. We all have a platform. And ultimately, if you can use your platform to do good, then you should go ahead and do that. Yeah. I actually have a real lived example from today. My family actually owns restaurants outside of Mecha Noodle Bar. We have a butcher who did a little side job for me painting. And I paid him $250 today, this morning, $250 put in his hand, cash. Thank you for painting that room for me at my multifamily. And he says, great, the people in Brazil are going to appreciate it. I said, what? He said, yeah, this $250 I'm sending to an orphanage. I send $250 every month to this orphanage to help buy diapers, help buy milk, help buy whatever. That's his platform.
Yeah.
Right. He came to this country with absolutely nothing. You know, he's a butcher. He makes $19 an hour, but he still finds a way to use his platform to do good.
Right.
And the beauty of Eat Justice is I reached into my pocket and I said, send this $250 too. Right. So now $500 are going to this orphanage just because he leveraged his platform and inspired me to do the same.
Right.
And that's really what I think the best way you can help and you can be a part of it.
I love it. We definitely obviously will be, you know, with our work, you know, we'll be making promos and stuff and pumping out everything we talked about here today just to get it out. Because like I said, I didn't hear about it till you guys talked about it on our Zoom call, and Dan Vieira had briefly mentioned it to us when we were filming for him. So yeah, I mean, it can't be just that.
Yeah, we're in our beginning phases, right? We really had to take a look at what we wanted to do and how to strategize, and it's part of the reason why we're here today, right? We have to celebrate this, right? We have to be the superheroes, whether how uncomfortable it is for us, because it's super uncomfortable right now.
You know, you guys are doing great. I know you guys are introverts, and it's like I get it.
And so, but the thing is, you know, there's not enough role models, there's not enough good news. And that's what we're trying to do with these promo videos that we're doing on YouTube, these interviews,
right?
The social media thing, you know, even this podcast.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's when we talked, you know, our motto is, you know, educate, motivate, and make you laugh. You know what I mean? Especially with a guy like Tony back there, it's easy to do the last part, but we're all about education. I hate the culture vultures that just there's generations of kids. I was a kid. I know what it's like, you know, and they know me. I'm the biggest adult child you ever meet. You know, I have my inner child. I'll always keep it. I feel like it's a part of life, you know. Once you lose that, something's wrong. But like the culture vultures out there that make content that's negatively impacting people out there, and they don't even care. They just care about the money, right? So that's why, and that's why I love what you guys are doing, because in our own way, we're doing it with our content. That's why we have this show, for example. You know, it's an educational show. Right. We're going to get deep. We're going to talk about uncomfortable things at times. You know what I mean? We're going to get spiritual maybe, you know? Yeah. But it's what's needed.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So that's sick. I'm excited. You know, clearly Boston is the main focus right now in your future plans. But I love talking about, you know, things that help people in their journey, especially books. You know, you were talking to Renee earlier. She was talking about her book that she's reading. I love Think and Grow Rich and The Alchemist right now are my probably 1A, 1B. We'll see where it ends up being, who's number one in my heart between those two books, because geez Louise, they're great books. Yeah. I mean, wow. But what about you guys? Do you guys have any books, you know, in the past or that you're reading now that you love?
Can I not pick a book? Can I just like give a direction?
No, yeah. I mean, we've done YouTube videos. We've done just whatever helps.
Yeah. I think go opposite of what you tend to do. Someone once told me that when I said, "Oh, give me a book recommendation." They said, "Well, what do you normally read?" And I said, "Books about business and books about leaders and history." They said, "Great. Here's a piece of fiction, right?" And that piece of fiction, you know, really opened my eyes to, you know, other ways of looking at the world and thinking about what is possible. And I use that now. Every third book, I pick a book or a category that I wouldn't do. Right. So right now I'm reading a book on quantum physics.
Nice.
And it's mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all about manifestation and all that stuff. It's real.
It aligns with spirituality.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I didn't take that recommendation, I would never have been able to put these two things together.
Dude, it's dope. And chakra's next for you, I'm telling you. Get into it next, because it'll all make sense.
You got to wait 2 more books, and then I get to that third.
I'll get you the book then, for the third one.
All right.
So The Alchemist is definitely my 1B. There's a book out there called Siddhartha that is really in line with The Alchemist, but it's a more a grown-up type of story, but really similar journeys.
Writing it down for us right now.
Yeah, it's a great book to read. It's really it goes fast. It's a quick read, and it just helped me with where I'm at today.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm due soon for a new book. I'm almost done with the one I'm reading right now, but that's dope. Anything you would tell yourself, a young you out there? What advice would you give them?
Get clear on your why. I think every decision that we make always comes down to, you know, the why. And I think the earlier you can get clear on your why and staying open to that why being able to evolve and with your own kind of personal evolution, I think that that should be the guiding light. Whatever that is for you is what it is for you.
Nice. I love it. Sounds like Eric Thomas.
There's so much there's so many lessons that I have, right?
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, definitely the lesson of just righteousness and evil, right? That's a big one, to really know the characteristics of evil, because it's part of psychology, right? It's to know what setting that person is at and how to deal with them and the situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one. The adversity, right? I have this kind of saying. It's actually funny because I have in my notes on my iPhone, I have like lessons to teach my kids, even though I don't have kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I put down adversity as gold, because everyone faces adversity, and every day you're just put in these situations. How are you gonna react to it, right? And being business owners, and especially in a really tough industry, you're faced with adversity, you're faced with walls, barriers. You really have to know how to climb over it or around it.
Or through it.
Or through it, right? So but that's how you gain wisdom. That's how you become smarter. There's beauty in that. And as a 20-year-old, you don't see that, right? You just you don't know how to get around it. And I would definitely teach my 20-year-old self that.
Yeah. J. Cole always says there's beauty in the struggle.
Yeah.
I love it. Dollar and a Dream, folks.
Dollar and a
J.
Dream.
Cole. It's been my anthem forever. I love it. I love this, guys. I mean, I feel like I've gotten to know you guys a lot. Is there anything else you guys want to share with anyone right now? Right? Tony, do you have any questions, man? You're quiet back there.
No, I'm focused on the switching here, but no, Mike, I think you pretty much covered it, dude.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Where can people find you guys? For whether the restaurant, just for social media tags, just tell people.
Oh, I'm the wrong person to ask for that, Tony.
Yeah.
We actually just did a link tree for Mecha Noodle Bar and Eat Justice.
Nice.
So if you guys want to listen to our playlist, if you want to go to our TikTok, all that stuff, it's a link tree at Mecha Noodle Bar.
Cool.
Or a link tree at Eat Justice.
Nice. You guys got that? All right.
Yeah, I got it, dude.
Cool, guys. That's the 50th episode.
Yeah.
Party time.
I can't believe it. The party, we will definitely film the party and have that for you guys. I can't believe it's been 50 episodes already. I love it. And this is a special one with you guys because, it's dope talking, to you guys because, you guys are first generation and I'm first generation and I know what it's like. I know what it's like to just want it so bad for your family, that there's nothing else to do but do it.
Yeah.
There's no option. There's nothing else. You're the one there. You're the first one here in this setting out of anybody in the history of your family.
Yep.
It's like, how do you not capitalize and do it? You know what I mean? So it's dope. And I appreciate you guys for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
For sure.
Appreciate it.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.